Inside Madison Square Garden, this is the 2015 Gotham Classic, part of Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers. Pittsburgh and Davidson, two of the most electric offenses in the country. They square off this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Along with Len Elmore, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald. Panthers, Wildcats, they score 85 or more per game. With the Wildcats, they have Jack Gibbs, the nation's second leading scorer. If you don't know his name by now, today's the day to learn.
Well, certainly Jack Gibbs is an explosive scorer. There's no doubt about that. And the accolades continue to follow him. But what makes him excel is his strength with the ball as he drives to the hoop. He can take the bumps in the paint. And also he's got a quick release on his jumper off the dribble. And yes, he plays much like that guy, Steph Curry.
Well, he's having the best offensive season for any Davidson player since Steph was here 7 years ago. Well, Davidson, they get it done with the guard play. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they have those bruising forwards down low, and here are a couple of the stars to watch out for. Michael Young and Jamel Artis, both juniors, friends from back during their high school days. They have progressed every year they have been in Jamie Dixon's system.
Well, Jamie Dixon obviously has given them the opportunity and the freedom to play their game, and you see the results are marvelous.
Excellent head coaching matchup. Jamie Dixon, he's in his 13th season with the Panthers. On the other side, it's Bob McKillop. 27 years with the Wildcats, just picked up his 500th victory a couple weeks ago back in late November. Pittsburgh and Davidson, both of these teams off to good starts. The Wildcats 7-1 on the season. The Panthers 8-1 on the year. At the center circle, Jordan Barham up against Michael Young, and the Wildcats have possession to start this one at Madison Square Garden.
Well, like Jamie Dixon told us, they're man-to-man. Pittsburgh's going to try to limit Gibbs' touches. They'll try to crowd him a little bit and try to contain him, but they're not going to load up on him and allow the other guys to do their job.
Yeah, Jack Gibbs, number 12 in white, goes for 25 a night. Brian Sullivan has the first look, and he buries the triple. That's his shot from the outside.
Right, that's his shot, and that's the thing that frightens Pittsburgh. They want to make him put it on the floor. He's a great catch-and-shoot shooter.
Top of the key, Jay, for Michael Young. His first look goes off the mark. That's the junior from Duquesne. Oh, both of these offenses, they're high power. Another three, and that's his Peyton Aldridge. Davidson likes to shoot the three.
Yeah, Aldridge 8 of 34 now from beyond the arc. Not a great shooter, but everybody's capable on that Davidson team.
For Pittsburgh, this is quite arguably best offensive year under Jamie Dixon. James Robinson proving why. He has two. That's a great point guard to lead your crew. James Robinson, the senior from Maryland. This is Gibbs. Dixon talked about collapsing on him when he has the basketball. He can shoot, can also drive. Jordan Barham gives it up.
Shot clock under 10, and they want to make Sullivan put it on the floor. Robinson doesn't need to reach. If he stays up tight, Sullivan has to put it on the floor. Take a look right there. He puts it on the floor and pulls up and knocks down a three. And then on the drive, again, finds the open man as the Pittsburgh defense follows him.
So a new 30-second shot clock. Yeah, Len, if you're playing Davidson, you really got to respect everybody in this starting unit from beyond the arc.
I mean, you can help, you can collapse and protect the paint, but you got to play tag with your man. Make sure you're close enough.
That foul on Jamel Artis, so back-to-back whistles against Pitt. Davidson, they take about 30 per game from downtown. Second in the country a year ago in three-point shooting, top 15 again this year.
And on average, they make about 10, so you got to guard the three-point line when you're playing Davidson.
Sullivan, he's got it. He's the most lethal from downtown. Goes for 17.5 a night. Gibbs puts it on the floor. Absorbs the contact for two.
That's exactly what I talked about at the beginning of this game, the strength of Jack Gibbs. You know, if you want to differentiate him from Steph Curry, that would be it. He is a truckload at the guard position.
He's 6 foot, close to 200 pounds. He's got a little more muscle. Robinson has one. Barham tips it away. That's Oscar Mickelson with the board.
really, Pittsburgh only got the ball inside once. Not able really to play to their strength.
Rafael Maya, he gets a hand in Barham's face. That's another foul on Pittsburgh.
Well, go back to Jack Gibbs' drive. As I mentioned earlier, his strength with the ball off the dribble can take those bumps, as he did right there, and still able to finish.
And Pittsburgh has so many of those forwards down low, guys that can play inside, can play out. It's a physical unit this year. And Davidson is, they're going to see a lot of that pressure today.
Right now, Pittsburgh really denied the opportunity to get it in. Good defense by Davidson, pressuring the passer, making it more difficult for those entry passes down low.
Jamel Artis along two.
But the versatility of the Pittsburgh front line, you know, can neutralize that pressure that Davidson is applying. They can step out and knock down shots.
Yeah, and Jamel Artis, you talk with Jamie Dixon about his game. He's improved it over the last few years. Nice sleight of hand. And it's Rafael Maya, a fifth-year senior from Brazil, with the excellent defensive play.
Maya is one of those hard-nosed guys, loves to rebound.
One of the three graduate transfers that Dixon brought in this year. Maya, he was at Brown for 3 years, led the league in rebounding in the Ivy League 3 consecutive seasons. There's a steal.
That time Sterling Smith did a great job with his length, but Pittsburgh gives it right back.
And Young just had his eyes in the basket with Smith another. He comes over from Coppin State. He's a shooter. You got to watch him, number 15 in black from downtown.
But he's been given the assignment of containing Jack Gibbs. And that's something you got to do all day and all night. You can't take your eye off him.
Stays on Gibbs, splits two. And it's Young with the board. Both of these teams, they bring back a lot from a year ago. Robinson is one, missed. Maya tries the second look. And he's fouled underneath.
Well, that's kind of the difference of Pitt teams in the past compared to this team. This team will push the ball up the floor. You know, they'll quicken the pace, no question about it. They've got the personnel to do it.
We talked with plenty of folks around this team. We talked with the Davidson coach as well. They say this is not the Jamie Dixon team that we're used to.
I mean, they still play that solid defense, but offensively, they got guys that can stretch the floor, and they'll quicken the pace with the push.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's D, second in the ACC. They allow opponents to shoot 38% from the field. Foul underneath. It goes against Pittsburgh, and Artis was backing down Sullivan. That's an offensive foul.
And that will do an awful lot. That will do an awful lot to thwart Pittsburgh's attempts to go inside. You see Artis right there. You got to use your hips and your shoulders, not your arms. And that time, obviously aided by a little bit of acting, but nevertheless, it was a push-off and a good call by the officials.
Barham muscles in for two more. And there's the passing ability from this Davidson team, and especially Gibbs as well. Young to the rim, can't get the answer, and a breakout. Could be a 3-on-2.
That time Young too concerned with trying to draw the foul.
Sullivan follows his own miss. Maya with the rebound. Robinson, great floor general. Johnson goes in. And he has 2 free throws when we come back. Davidson out quick.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Continental Tire.
Back inside Madison Square Garden, Davidson with the early 6-point lead, along with Len Elmore. Kevin Fitzgerald here with you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Both of these teams, they're one-loss teams. They've gotten off to really fast starts, but they've done it a little bit differently this year.
Well, they certainly have. The one thing they have in common, though, is that they've been utilizing this new emphasis on the rules to their advantage. Pittsburgh, obviously, with their defense, they've been able to get it done, but they're led by their front line, their forwards who push the ball as well as stretch the floor. And Davidson, they're an offensive machine, 86 points per game. You know, they get it done by driving to the basket, by kicking it out. And as we mentioned before, just about everybody on that team is capable of knocking down a 3.
Yeah, what is most unique about Bob McKillop's motion offense? So much cutting on that floor.
Yeah, I mean, you have to play defense and see man ball at all times if you're going to be able to not only guard your man, but help.
Cameron Johnson at the line was fouled just before the break. Pittsburgh back within 4.
And Kevin, you have a lot of coaches who talk about put your head on a swivel. You can't do that because on a swivel you're going to miss something. You got to position yourself so your peripheral vision can recognize the ball and the man. And that changes, you got to change.
Just watch the cuts today. There's Gibbs, went in for 2 earlier, and it's Robinson with the board. He's trying to push his team.
Yeah, one of the things Pittsburgh provides that a lot of the opponents on Davidson's schedule don't is the same kind of strength to be able to match Jack Gibbs.
That's a great guard matchup today. Gibbs and Robinson. James Robinson is starting to This is Michael Young with the finish. Wow. The junior from Duquesne, Pennsylvania. He's the local product of this Panthers team. Nice cut from Gibbs to answer.
And that's definitely experience and judgment by Davidson right there to answer a crowd-pleasing dunk by Michael Young.
Young always wanted to go to Pitt. DeJuan Blair was that last local star that played for the Panthers. Now it's Young. Nice hook shot. It's Alonzo Nelson Ododa, a 5th-year senior, one of those 3 graduate transfers.
And now we see Pitt trying to exploit their advantage down low. The thing I like about this is Young gets it. He's looking to pass and recognizes the defense. He's got now a wide open middle, no hesitation. And man, rim rocker, whatever you want to call it, Michael Young did it.
Well, he's got a little more muscle this season. He was playing the 5 a lot last year. Really out of position.
Well, at this point in time, the way teams are playing the game, you almost don't want to designate guys just one position.
Excellent cut. That's Peyton Aldridge.
You don't see man ball, you're going to give up a layup.
Shoot, it's even tough off of inbound passes.
Exactly. Excellent execution by Davidson.
You said it. Wildcats score 86 a night. One of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. 4 starters back 3 years ago. Nelson Ododa.
Come on, man.
Ball's going to stick with Pittsburgh.
Again, you take a look. Just a nice cut, turn your head. And that's exactly what Jamel Artis did. The cutter that came off, he turned his head, lost his man.
Robinson, he's looking for Nelson Ododa again. The whistle. And has 2 free throws. Just got it at the last second.
Yeah, Nelson Ododa puts it up with one hand. There's actually no spin on it. He didn't get the roll. But he gets to the line.
And Nelson Ododa, he started those first 5 games of the year for Pittsburgh. He's from Atlanta. He had a great game this past January against this Davidson team. He was at Richmond, transfers over to Pittsburgh. His career high came against Davidson back in January.
Well, you can see he's a very skilled low post player. You know, utilizing that jump hook. And that's something I'd love to see more big guys do, utilizing the jump hook, being able to use his shoulders to keep the defender away, and the soft touch.
You look at all these big guys on the floor for Pittsburgh. Jamie Dixon told us beforehand, I've got a lot of those 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guys that can play every position. There's a lot of size to deal with.
Yeah, and like I said, you got to defy the labels of are you a center, are you a power forward, because of the versatility.
Pittsburgh didn't have too much depth in the front court last year, just 19 wins. Aldridge from downtown.
Michael Young hesitant to come out, and Aldridge makes him pay.
Yeah, Aldridge is 6'8". He's 205 pounds. You got to respect his ability to get to the rim as well. Damon Wilson, the freshman, running the point for Pitt now. Robinson on the bench. Foul away from the ball.
Well, you take a look. Again, on the drive, everybody collapses to the paint. And unfortunately, Michael Young too late. You got to be able, as the drive comes, you got to be able, again, to see man ball, but you got to play tag with your man. You can't drop so much that you allow a free open shot.
Yeah, these coaches say that Aldridge is kind of that X factor this season. A great freshman year a season ago. Ethan Ekwu out of the game for Davidson, his second foul. So Andrew McAuliffe comes in. And another whistle. That time it's on Jordan Watkins, a sophomore. 5-point lead early for Davidson. They've hit a few triples. Aldridge, he's got 8 points to lead everybody. Sullivan's going to challenge this one. Young has it. Nice backdoor cut. Nelson Odota can't handle it. Loose. Watkins has it for Davidson.
Active hands by Davidson, creating that turnover.
Watkins pulls up and knocks it down. That's a key piece off the bench to have. Chris Jones steps back. Offensive rebounds. Nelson. It's Cameron Johnson who pulls it down, and a whistle. 30 seconds for the Panthers. Cameron Johnson, redshirt freshman from Moon Township, Pennsylvania. He's logging some minutes early in this one. And Mickelson back in for Davidson.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has to really emphasize their strength down low on the boards, getting second chance opportunities. Wilson
to Johnson. It was open, and Young fights for the rebound. Pittsburgh, very good offensive rebounding team. The spin on the block. Nice kiss off the window.
Oh, you see the versatility right there. Jamel Artis just terrific off the bounce as well as in the post-up.
Gibbs gets inside. Mickelson's 3-0. Young fell down a second ago. That's what enabled Gibbs to get through the lane. Jones drives in, and he's fouled.
Well, that's what you have to do. Again, recognizing on the drive, you got the defense on their heels. You got to take it to them.
5-point lead for Davidson. Could this be a deja vu season for the Wildcats? Come back and find out.
Welcome to my house.
Curry, 3, yes! Bring it up for Stephen Curry. A high 3, got it! Curry in the lane, jumper.
Curry for 3. Got it! Oh my goodness! Stephen Curry from way down, and Davidson leads by 15.
An excellent season for Stephen Curry. He's having a very similar year to what Jack Gibbs is doing this season. You like both of them. They do it in different ways, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, Steph Curry is one of those guys that's 1 in a million. You know, his ability to shoot the jump shot, particularly from beyond the arc, was amazing, but his handle gets him where he wants to go. Now, Jack Gibbs, his field goal percentage a little bit higher because he relies a lot on driving to the basket, getting those higher percentage shots. He doesn't handle quite as well as Steph Curry. They both let the game come to them, but both of them are extremely explosive.
December 1st, Steph Curry was on hand in Charlotte to watch Gibbs take on UNC Charlotte. What does Gibbs do? He hits his first 14 shots, drops 41 points on Charlotte. A nice handshake afterward from Stephen Curry. He's showing the MVP how it's done.
Yeah, Jack Gibbs doing a little bit. Anything you can do, I can do almost as well.
This is Chris Jones, the redshirt junior from Teaneck, New Jersey. Just right outside New York City. We're at Madison Square Garden this afternoon, and Davidson, they have played fast, have the 4-point lead. Jones splits a pair. That game on December 1st, one of the 335-plus point nights for Gibbs this season. Curry actually was playing the Hornets that next day. Charlotte head coach Mark Price, he okayed moving that game that was originally scheduled the same night as Curry's game back one day, so it wouldn't interfere too much with the Curry festivities. Mickelson goes in, and he gets the roll.
That's pretty good defense, though. You know, Nelson Odota did what he was supposed to do, but it was a nice, strong move.
Gibbs, 25 a night for this Davidson team. He means a lot. What does Steph Curry mean and has meant to this program over the years?
Well, obviously, when you have somebody who's accomplished as much as he is pretty much the goal for most of these players. Not only to be an athlete, but obviously to be a student as well. And also, you know, his presence gives them a lot of pride. And certainly, you know, his contribution financially to the program helped extremely.
Well, the funny part is that number 30 jersey, it's not retired yet. It's not up in the rafters. Curry came out after his third year. You've got to graduate to retire that jersey at Davidson. And we're going back the other way. Offensive foul. This one on David Wilson. Only a matter of time, though, for Curry. Jamie Dixon's team down 4 to start. Michael Young checks out. Pitt's leading scorer. Gets about 17 or 18 a night.
It's time to rest him up and have him be able to go strong maybe at the 7-minute mark. As long as his teammates can hold where they are, the deficit, or obviously reduce the deficit.
Gibbs finds Sullivan. He's got the larger Chris Jones on him.
See Chris Jones seeing man ball, and that's what they want to do, make him put it on the floor.
That's a deadly step back. And not much you can do there.
Right, you make him put it on the floor. He's going to knock shots down like that. There's not a whole lot you can do. One dribble pull-up, tough to guard.
Brian Sullivan, number 1 in the Atlantic 10. He makes 4 a night from downtown. Robinson has space down the lane. Jones steps into the triple, and good answer.
Indeed an answer, since Jones and Sullivan are guarding each other.
Now Gibbs tries from the same spot. We talk a lot about Gibbs, but Sullivan and Gibbs, they're the best scoring duo in the entire country, about 43 points per game combined.
And they usually play together well.
Nelson Odota's shot off the mark. There's a loose ball foul, and it's going to go against Nathan Ekwu.
Well, again, we talk about the ability of Sullivan. He puts it on the floor once in a step back. You got to be able to stay tough with him. You saw the defender step away, and right there, nobody guarding Chris Jones.
By the way, that foul goes against Sheldon Jeter. And 1-1 now for Davidson. Less than 9.5 to go until halftime. This is Nathan Ekwu. He's the sophomore from Nigeria.
Oh. I was just going to say, if you got to foul somebody on Davidson, Ekwu would be the guy that came into this game shooting 47%.
He played his high school ball about 11 miles north of where we are right now. Cardinal Hayes really revitalized that program a few years ago. Just 4 years in the States for Ekwu, but he's got a pair at the line.
Yeah, he reduced the criticism by knocking down those shots. Got a good post up. You got to be able to get it to him.
Now Jeter lets it fly. That one's off the mark. Yeah, Pitt's strength, there's a lot.
Ryan
Free throw
Luther
shooting is one.
Yeah, Ryan Luther broke open on the post. And he really couldn't get him the ball.
Backdoor cut. Gibbs fakes the pass. Flashy moves.
You know, we talk about Jack Gibbs. He's struggling right now. Getting some shots, but they're off balance and they're tough.
Just 2 of 6 from the field. Robinson for 3.
We talk a lot about Jamel Artis and Michael Young, but James Robinson has been a mainstay, senior. And here, just as I talk about Gibbs struggling a little bit, that push up the floor, getting the defense back on their heels, and then he's able to do whatever he wants to do.
5-point lead. Now, what is Gibbs' biggest strength from what you've seen?
Well, right here, it's the ability to go inside among the trees, utilizing his strength and get his shot off.
Remember, Monday, the most wonderful time of the year, continues with the Miami Beach Bowl at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN. Running back Marlon Mack leads 8-4 South Florida against quarterback Brandon Dowdy and the 11-2 Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. The game is streaming also live on Watch ESPN. Pittsburgh's football team there in a bowl. They take on number 21 Navy on Monday the 28th, the Military Bowl. Football and basketball teams having a solid year so far. Nice teardrop for Michael Young.
I like what Michael Young is very patient down low.
Knocked loose. Pittsburgh starts the run. Robinson leaves it for Jones.
Good offensive rebound. That's the new fast break. Kick it to the three-point shooter.
One three-point shooter to the other. Sterling Smith, one of his looks from outside, no go.
And if I'm Jamie Dixon, you know, I'm a little bit upset that my team has amnesia. They forget Michael Young down low, how easy it is for him to score once he gets the ball on the block.
Yeah, Young has 5 20-point games this year. He and Jamel Artis have improved every year since getting to Pittsburgh. Mickelson shot contested. It was Smith with the hand in the face. And Gibbs is short.
Gibbs with that quick release, though, did wind up short. But Pittsburgh can't get into a contest of who can shoot threes.
And you said it, Davidson lives and dies by the three.
They certainly do, but what they do is they entice opponents to try to match them instead of opponents playing to their strengths. Nice job by Sullivan getting into the paint.
Rebound down to Michael Young. Smith, you can't give him space above the arc. Pittsburgh ball the way return. Davidson up by 4 late in the first. Mark, that's become the standard with Jamie Dixon around with the Panthers program. This is his 13th season.
Well, Jamie Dixon, obviously an outstanding coach over the years. You know, he's been able to adapt to players' situation and find formulas that allow his best players to display their strengths. And, you know, when he does that, certainly, you know, those guys are able to score. But what's been so consistent with his teams is the defense. You know, they've limited teams. They've done a great job with field goal percentage defense. And you do that, you're going to get your share of wins.
Defense much better this season compared to last year. And the tip in from Chris Jones. Well, Dixon was 37 back in 2003 when he sat down with then Chancellor at the time, Mark Nordenberg, and said, I will never make this program look bad. And boy, has he ever delivered on that promise. Dixon has accomplished all this success. Did it in the mid-2000s. Big East was at its best. Block underneath. Pittsburgh basketball.
And now they're going back inside. I'm sure that's what they discussed in that huddle. You know, don't forget, we got strength inside. Let's go to it. Because the reason Davidson has this lead is because of their ability to shoot the three. And the points in the paint are even right now. Pittsburgh should be dominating with that.
So they're going back to Michael Young. Nathan Ekwu, the 6'7" sophomore forward, he just picked up his 3rd foul. And back comes Peyton Aldridge set to check in. Young 84% from the line this season. Excellent from the stripe. It's the New Year's 6, 2 of the greatest days for college football fans, and it all starts at noon Eastern, New Year's Eve on ESPN. Then at 4 and 8 playoff semifinal games between number 4 Oklahoma and number 1 Clemson, and then number 3 Michigan State and number 2 Alabama. Then on New Year's Day, 3 more tremendous games. Kickoff 2016. All of those games on ESPN or streaming live on Watch ESPN. Offensive foul, and Sterling Smith, he gets the ball back for his team.
Well, that's anticipation. Bob McKillop not happy with the call, but taking a look, anticipation going to his right. Smith did a great job, didn't have to reach, and I think that's what people are arguing about, the fact that Smith reached on that, but there's no question that he beat Jack Gibbs to the spot.
Yeah, Davidson rarely turns the ball over. 3rd in the country in that department.
You know, Davidson switching between 2-3 and man-to-man.
First lead for Pitt.
Doesn't seem to bother the Panthers, though.
Panthers on a big run.
Yeah, 9-0 run, primarily because they've been able to get the ball inside. Careless pass by Gibbs there.
Smith to Young. 11-0 run, timeout Davidson. And Michael Young with the hammer.
Came off the turnover. And we talked about Pittsburgh, outstanding push up the floor. Right there, nice job by Sterling Smith, curling and coming off and shooting a three. Then careless pass by Jack Gibbs. Off to the races. Get to the finish line. Again, good fast break, good spacing by Pittsburgh. And it came off the turnover. As you mentioned, Kevin, rare are the turnovers for Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson gives it away 9 times a game on average. That's 3rd best in the country. Back-to-back turnovers there. And Michael Young with the finish. J.B. Dixon talks about how he's such an excellent distributor. Not only a great post-up threat, but he's a playmaker. That's the best way to describe Young.
Yeah, and the impressive thing is the thing you don't see. How much time he spends in the gym. You know, talking to Jamie, he talked about Michael Young constantly practicing his craft, constantly working on his game, and it's paying dividends.
And you stay healthy, too. 80 straight starts for Michael Young, dating back to his freshman year. Well, it's been Young so far for Pittsburgh, 12 points. Haven't seen too much of Jamel Artis. He'll get you about 15 tonight on the bench right now. Another steal, and this is Robinson. So unselfish, takes it in himself. Great passing.
Yeah, there's the reward right there. Again, Pittsburgh outstanding in running their fast break today, taking advantage of the Davidson turnover.
Yeah, Robinson in great shape. He broke his foot in the offseason. Really was hobbled until September, so he was late to the party, getting ready for this year. Sheldon Jeter with the block. Backdoor cut. Mickelson puts the bucket up and in, but it's a foul just before the shot.
Well, again, off the steal, we talked about Pittsburgh doing a nice job with their fast break. Look at the spacing on the break. You know, those guys run wide, and it gives them room. And here, defensively, it's just going to be so hard for Jordan Barham to be able to post anybody up there. He's given away several inches.
First point for Davidson in close to 4 minutes. They got out to the early lead, hit some triples. They've gone cold from the beyond the arc the last few minutes, and Pittsburgh, that 13-0 run is finally snapped. 6-point lead. Panthers, they are right outside the top 25. Davidson, a great RPI. This win a win for Pitt could vault them into the top 25. Jeter, the Vanderbilt transfer, goes in for 2 more. Sheldon Jeter from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, another local product. Excellent player back in high school. He's back home with the Panthers. Aldridge, shimmy shake.
Yeah, Peyton Aldridge seems to be the guy right now. Davidson can ride him for a while, play a little bit of better defense.
2 leading scorers, Aldridge with a dozen, same for Mike Young.
That's too easy. That's too easy. James Robinson just bigger and stronger than Jordan Watkins. He'll go wherever he wants to go right now.
Robinson, great size for that point guard position. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. Deep 3, and Aldridge can't connect. The lead is 7 for the Panthers. Pitt's made 6 in a row. Now 7 straight shots. Cameron Johnson. This is what's tough for Davidson. Pittsburgh's defense so much more improved compared to a season ago. And Johnson, he bumps Mickelson.
Well, Pittsburgh obviously on this run has been spectacular. Good ball movement. They've been able to knock down shots. That's why they're leading.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is...
That's a 10-point lead for Pittsburgh. Plenty of New York City connections on the floor. Bob McKillop Davidson head coach, 27th season. He grew up in Queens.
He coached out in Long Island Lutheran for a while.
It was funny, he spent 1 year as an assistant. I was with Davidson, 78 and 79. 10 years with Long Island Lutheran afterward, and then got hired by Davidson in 1989. Pittsburgh on a 20-4 run. And they have used their defense, turned that into offense. There's Young again.
Good pass. Didn't hit anything, though. Good defense by Davidson right there, not allowing the ball to go inside. You know, making sure that they're covering shooters, forcing Pittsburgh to continue to explore until they were forced to make that shot, and that quick shot, and obviously didn't touch the rim in the violation.
Well, you like Mike Young's game. Late in the shot clock situation like that, probably want to see him just take it to the rim.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing team ball, but there are times when you have to be selfish for the team's benefit.
Cameron Johnson comes out. Good minutes for the redshirt freshman off J.B. Dixon's bench. Barham can't connect.
Again, Barham's quick, but he's not a long-range shooter. He's a mid-range guy and a post-up guy. And against this big Pittsburgh team, problems.
That's a long-range shooter. Sterling Smith is a point away from 1,000. Spent 3 years at Coppin State. Got his degree in criminal justice. And now with Pittsburgh for 1 year. And Aldridge with that nice hook shot on the left side of the lane. Well, it's the 3-ball, the specialty for the Panthers. And Smith has hit a ton in his career. That was NBA range.
Yeah, it was finding him. His artist was smothered by the Davidson defense. Good job to find the shooter. On the other hand, though, Davidson trying to explore where the weak spots of this Pittsburgh defense are. You know, the post-ups now, they're getting some good post-ups by a variety of guys.
For the Wildcats, you got a couple minutes. How do you close this a little bit, not let it bleed any further until halftime?
Well, it all comes down to stops. You got to get some consecutive stops, and on the other end, you got to pull it down like that. On the other end, you've got to be able to find some good shots. Either get a good shot or get fouled.
Good rebound from McAuliffe. Sullivan to Aldridge. Davidson takes about 33s a game, and they get it down low. McAuliffe on Young. Way off. Maya watched it for a second. Pittsburgh has it.
Yeah, the post-ups are there for Davidson. Just got to be the right person.
Davidson gives up to Young. In and out. Offensive board to Robinson. There's another.
It's a 2. His foot was on the line. But outstanding pass by Robinson. That looked like goaltending right there.
And they will count it. So in less than a minute until the break. Coming up, the K Jewelers halftime report with Brendan Fitzgerald and Adrian Branch. It's 7 ranked teams going down yesterday. And they'll have all those highlights. Great weekends of college basketball.
There's a 1-3-1 pressure that Davidson did at the last possession as well. Pittsburgh taking their time, but that's not the way to attack. You can get that shot anytime on the 1-3-1. It's vulnerable on post-ups and getting it in the paint. You just have to have the patience.
Forces the 12th Pittsburgh three-pointer. They're 5 of 12 from downtown. So Davidson slows it. Here's Jack Gibbs, 25 points tonight. Just picked up his second Atlantic 10 Player of the Week award last week. He's trying to get things going. For 3. Robinson the board. And dribbles it, looks like off his foot. Off of a Davidson player's foot. And Robinson almost slides underneath the scorer's table.
You all right? Came right at us.
It's caught on a wire underneath us for a moment. That's probably the only thing that's going to slow Robinson down in this first half.
Well, the call that was Pittsburgh's ball that actually went off the foot of Mickelson. I'm not sure Robinson realized that. Actually, he couldn't have realized that because he wouldn't have put his body on the line to go get the ball.
8 seconds until halftime. Gotham Classic, part of Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers in New York City this afternoon at Madison Square Garden. As the Panthers that have the 12-point lead after 20 minutes over the Wildcats. First time in over 42 years these teams have met. They're doing it inside MSG. Now let's take a look at the NBA 2K16 first half stats. Pittsburgh and Davidson, they both shot pretty well from the floor, but the Panthers went on that run at the end of the first frame, 27-9 run, and they take that 12-point lead into the break.
Yeah, and they did a terrific job, obviously, of going to their strengths, getting the ball in the paint, and defensively able to create some turnovers. And, you know, turnovers are rare for Davidson, but Pittsburgh able to turn them over and score some points off those turnovers. Well,
Jack Gibbs, he came in as the nation's second leading scorer for the Wildcats, but he's been held in check. So what did Pittsburgh do in the first half to slow him down?
Well, they executed their game plan. As Jamie Dixon told us before the game, they wanted to crowd him and make sure that other guys paid attention to him, certainly closing on shots with their length. And more importantly, obviously they want to be able to create turnovers. Anticipation right there was excellent. And here, errant pass turns into a score. And that's what Pittsburgh was able to do. Take a look at the shot chart right here. A couple of layups, 3 layups for Jack Gibbs, but nothing in the mid-range or beyond the arc because of Pittsburgh's ability to close and to use their length against them to bother them.
It really was Peyton Aldridge who was the top scoring threat for Davidson, leads everybody with 15. Mike Young for Pitt has 14. And the Panthers with possession, a 12-point cushion. So these first few minutes, important for Davidson. Remember, they came out in the first half firing quickly to begin the game.
Pittsburgh right now, you see they're running a set, looking to get that first score, you know, which is kind of a statement, if you will. Kind of pick up where you left off.
Largest lead of the day. Pittsburgh is shooting 54% from the field. Barham's shot rejected. There's a whistle. And it goes against Pittsburgh.
Late whistle.
Sheldon Jeter.
And it was called for slapping the arm. But Jordan Barnes had all sorts of trouble when he tries to take these guys in. Yeah, they got the arm, no question.
So it's Sheldon Jeter with his third personal foul. So he's out there with this unit to start the second half. We only saw Jamel Artis for 4 minutes in the first half for Pittsburgh.
And it took Pittsburgh a while to adjust playing without Artis.
Mike Young started to catch fire late in the first half. That pass out of bounds. Rafael Maya checks back in for the Panthers. And Jeter sits down.
Those are the kind of plays that make a coach go, simply because Artis drove in the paint. He had an opportunity to do something in the paint, but he kicked it back outside.
Yeah, a Dixon team, always a disciplined team. Barham short.
Well, the point is you turn a higher percentage opportunity into a turnover by doing that. They're young, a nice roll, excellent delivery by Robinson, who does a great job of keeping his head up when he's dribbling. You know, he sees the floor as well as handles it, and that's why it has such a great assist-turnover ratio.
Smith blocked the shot, but Gibbs gets the follow.
That was determination right there. Even though he got his shot blocked, Gibbs stayed with it. Made something happen. You hope that his teammates can follow with that hunger.
He's tough, Land, the junior from Westerville, Ohio. He's on Robinson, gives the ball off. There's Artis. And he knocks down the 2.
Yeah, see, when you talked about Pittsburgh before being a defensive-minded team and excellent defending, we forget sometimes how explosive they are offensively, and they're demonstrated here.
Aldridge, he's trying to get going, hit his first couple triples. He's gone quiet. Robinson is such an unselfish leader. That's what Dixon calls his senior point guard. Went to DeMatha down in Maryland. Excellent basketball school. Gibbs off the turnover. Aldridge again. Can't get it to go.
Not having the same kind of luck.
Artis wants it and he hits. Wow, everything is falling for Pittsburgh this afternoon.
Hey, can they miss? You know, Aldridge came into this game shooting 7 for 33 from beyond the arc. Done a pretty good job in this particular game, but that magic doesn't seem to be looking for him anymore. Right there.
Well, Davidson fell to UNC
What
in
a
December.
Aldridge with the steal.
He jumps the lane there. That loss to UNC was one of Davidson's worst shooting nights. They shot 35% from the field. Gibbs hits it from the top of the key. And a timeout taken by Jamie Dixon. So Davidson a little bit better, trying to get started down 15 in this second half.
Well, Jamel Artis saddled with foul trouble in the first half. Making up for it here. Sweet.
College basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
Pittsburgh extending its lead early in the second half over Davidson. It was 12 at the break. Now it's 15. Can Pittsburgh miss a shot this afternoon?
Well, they did miss a shot at the beginning of the game. They started 9 for 23, but since then they are 14 of 17 from the field. Just an outstanding explosion of offensive skill. Now, Davidson was complicit in some ways with the turnovers, but nevertheless, you know, Pittsburgh getting the ball inside, and once they started to dominate inside, it opened up that world of putting the ball in the basket.
Goes without saying, Jamie Dixon was telling us before, loves being back in the Garden, loves being back in New York City around the holidays. Yeah,
he's got some good memories here, good Big East memories.
It's a Mariah Carey tune serenading the crowd here at MSG. What's the enjoyment of Lennon? There's another three this time. Sterling Smith. It's an excellent addition to the offense. Turnover. Robinson gives it for Young. Equa with the block, but it's a foul. And that's number 4 on the forward from Nigeria. And he just checked in.
Well, talking about Mariah Carey, if Bob McKillop had his way, all he wants for Christmas is a stop. Pittsburgh just comes down at will. Either gets to the line or scoring.
And now the turnover is starting to pile up. That's 7 for Davidson. We've got plenty to go in the second half. They only average 9 a game. And Mike Young's just automatic at the line, 85% now this season. He's coming off a game where he just went 12 of 13 from the line, and a win over Morehead State last Sunday.
What an anomaly Young has turned out to be among big men, shooting 90% from the free throw line. We get guys that can't even shoot 50% in college basketball. That's one of the shames of the game, the inability of guys to shoot free throws.
Yeah, and Pitt 78% from the line as a team. That's 6th in the country. Aldridge can't buy one lately. He got off to that great start, and now 6 of 13 from the field at 15 at the break. Young muscles in. That's a player control foul. And it goes on Young. Ball back to Davidson.
Yeah, that means I'm not so sure.
And so here's the chance for Davidson. 4 minutes into the second half. Watkins. And there's Aldridge who goes up for the rebound. Back out to Sullivan. He spots up, and that's a rare miss and a rare air ball.
And no one was even near Sullivan pretty much on that release. Sullivan and Watkins shooting threes, not even close. And Davidson.
Michael Young, 18 points. He's getting it done from all over the court.
He has done it effortlessly. You know, he gets the ball on the block. He's got a variety of moves, and he's got that power. When he's redone his body, as Jamie Dixon would say, a lot of muscle. It's almost as though the white shirts are getting out of his way when he gets down low. And take a look at these accomplishments right here. It's outstanding.
just one of the best players in the ACC this season. It's funny, Pittsburgh was picked 10th out of 15 in the preseason polls. And hey, someone's got to occupy that spot, but they have roared past preseason expectations. 8-1 on their way to potentially 9-1 start this year.
Yeah, I'm wondering who's doing the picking here. Finished 10th. This team, with their upperclassmen, they got just about everybody back. You know, guys with experience and with skill. And the way Pittsburgh plays defense, I think that they are definitely a team to be reckoned with in the ACC.
Damon Wilson with the three. Sullivan can't answer, but Davidson back with the basketball. Well, those preseason rankings, it went UNC, Virginia, Duke, top three. But look at 1 through 3 of the ACC right now. It's Louisville, Miami, and Virginia. And gives a shot that he usually hits from that range, driving to the rim. Hasn't fallen too often. Artis. Tough to do that. Bullseye.
Possession arrow to Davidson, but
that's the only way you're going to stop a Pittsburgh shot today, I think.
Tell you what, and that was a wide open look.
That's the first miss in this second half. Pittsburgh is astonishing rate, 58% shooting from the field today. That's
Davidson.
Barron looks from beyond the arc.
Yeah, they cooled down tremendously. 4 of 6 to begin the game, and then 0 for 11 since. And some of them are open looks.
Yeah.
So you kind of wonder, you know, where's the confidence?
So Davidson has had a couple tests this year. The first was against 9th-ranked UNC. He fell behind 10-0 early in that game. It was about a 20-point deficit. Time it reached halftime. Now today against the Pittsburgh team that, for all intents and purposes, with a win, they could enter the top 25. The three's letting them down, and a 23-point deficit right now. That one swirls down for Aldridge. He's an excellent free throw shooter. He's got 16. Well, if you're Davidson, again, you have those 2 games against UNC and Pittsburgh, and shots just weren't falling. Young, wide open lane.
Well, after the screen was set, Young just popped. His teammates found him, but Davidson didn't find him.
6 20-point games for Michael Young. Faces up on Aldridge. That shot no go. Young went to St. Benedict's in Newark, not too far away from the city. He played with his teammate Artis. He played with an NBA draft pick from a season ago, Tyler Ennis. Had some great years at St. Benedict's and has taken his talents to Pittsburgh. Gets it to his former high school roommate. Can't hit the shot. Ball on the ground. Wilson had it knocked away, and it's out of bounds. And even there, a tough break for Davidson. They forced the turnover. They just can't handle the basketball.
Yeah, there are some days when you have bad luck, and some days you have no luck. And I think that's what Davidson is fighting right now. Despite the hustle, the ball just not bouncing their way.
Davidson's 7-1 record, so second straight year they've gotten out to a 7-1 start. There's a whistle. Sullivan. He bodies Wilson. First personal on Sullivan, redshirt senior from Upper Arlington, Ohio. Davidson, they need some stops. Got 13.5 minutes to go. Big cushion with time. Smith flashes. Gets it down low to Alonzo Nelson Adota. Shifty move. Smith in the lane. Hangs in the air but can't finish.
Good drive, good thought. You know, putting pressure on the Davidson defense.
Right back into Aldridge's hands. And he recovers for a bucket.
Trading baskets is not to Davidson's advantage. They got to swing some stops together. Had one in the last possession. Couldn't stop here.
Michael Young with 22. Mickelson goes in. That's good defensive presence from Nelson Odota. Smith, step inside the arc. Down and out. And here's Sullivan. Gibbs from long range. McAuliffe with the follow, and there's two. Like you said, Len, you can't afford to trade baskets. Still 22 points separating these two teams. You like Pittsburgh really as a sleeper in this ACC conference. Maybe that's not even the right term anymore, just the offense that this team has put on display this year. They go for 85 plus a night. Artis the main reason for it. Offensive foul.
That was an act right there. Artis saddled again with fouls. But his running partner, Michael Young, hasn't really been called for anything except to score. And he's done a great job in the paint, making things happen. The versatility, ability to put it on the floor for a guy his size. Jamie Dixon continuing to go with size right now. He's got Luther in the game. Keeps Sterling Smith in the game, as you mentioned. Alonzo Nelson Odota.
How does that size stack up against the rest of the ACC?
I think the teams like Carolina that have big front lines. I mean, you look at Florida State, everybody's got a group of guys, but the versatility of these Pittsburgh guys, particularly Young and Artis, to put it on the floor, to step outside, I think that's what sets them apart in many ways.
So much size, but everybody moves. Smith, the new 1,000-point scorer, nails the triple. Smith, 3 years at Coppin State, got his degree, eligible to play immediately with Pittsburgh, and what an impact he's made. Mickelson, that's his specialty. He can step out and hit the three. Smith, originally from Chino, California, didn't have any offers out of high school, did a year of prep, got that look from Coppin State, and now he's playing ACC basketball, and he's got to look inside. A kick out to Jones, who lays it in, and that's a graceful move.
Yeah, the curls, the kick-outs, the drives. I mean, Pittsburgh just rolling, firing on all cylinders.
Sullivan, they try another from long range and going cold from beyond the arc. Good follow, though. That's Jordan Barham.
Well, the one thing you can say about Davidson is they're not quitting. You know, effort like Barham's offensive rebound and putback demonstrates that they're still in their fight.
Davidson, a team that won 24 games a year ago. First year of the Atlantic 10, won the regular season title. Jones again inside. He's got free throws. Pittsburgh on a roll midway through the second. Downtown, they're a big, busy day around Madison Square Garden this weekend. Duke in action, number 7 of the country, taking on Utah. This game went into overtime, Len. No top-ranked team was safe this weekend.
No, they weren't, and the Utah win was huge for that program. I tell you what, they're a competitive team in the Pac-12, and they just did an outstanding job of staying with it. They went behind, came back. Duke just still young, just not enough.
Talk about the youth. That was Brandon Ingram, who had that final look against Utah, 2-point overtime win. We had 4 top 10 teams go down yesterday. Kentucky was the other that lost to an unranked squad in Ohio State. That's a big win for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, when you talk about rankings, I'm not sure the voters look really closely enough at a lot of these teams. You know, the parity in college basketball, it seems to be a dirty word. Nobody wants to talk about it. But nevertheless, teams that have those upperclassmen, teams that have guys that have been around against the younger teams, many of those coming from the big programs because they've lost guys to professional basketball. And that's really what's keeping this thing pretty even. You'll see the upsets, which I don't regard as upsets.
Young, he was like a receiver there going up against a couple DBs, can't come up with it. When you talk about parity, you have to bring up the Atlantic 10. Davidson's home as of last season. Now, they've had some awesome wins this year against ranked opponents. 16 times already this year, an A-10 team has taken down, as we like to say, a power conference opponent. George Washington in the top 25 rankings. They're off to an excellent start this year.
Like I said, many of those programs keep their guys, and they develop and they grow. And a lot of the power conferences are losing guys, their top guys, the young players. They never really can keep the consistency and growth.
Well, Pittsburgh kind of resembles that program a bit. They get so much production from those upperclassmen. Fran Fraschilla said it this week. He's got a bunch of teams, power conference teams that are like mid-majors on steroids. It's the year of the upperclassmen, the juniors and the seniors.
The ones who keep them.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh has been one of those programs that's been able to develop guys like Michael Young, Jamel Artis. They come in as freshmen and they continue to develop, you know, not really looking at the opportunity for the NBA until graduation. I hope.
And what's funny, you bring up Artis and Young. They're the youngest keys in that starting unit. They're the juniors.
Yep.
And it fills out with Robinson, Smith, and Maya. For the seniors, Nelson Ododa is a big post threat. He's a fifth-year senior as well. Aldridge might have pivoted that foot. Yes, he did. That's a travel violation. Ball back to Pittsburgh. Well, this is one that Bob McKillop, his coaching staff, they're not going to be happy about. They're shooting just 38% from the field. Turned it over now 9 times. Young's so dangerous. He's got 22. Works in on Aldridge. The tip in. And yeah, that was Chris Jones puts his hand up and says, that one's mine.
Yeah, Davidson just has no answer for the Pittsburgh side and for the girth. You look at every one of the guys out here for Pitt, pretty much, maybe with the exception of Cameron Johnson, and they're not only big, they're thick.
That's Dixon's recruiting strength. He always gets guys that can fill different roles, can play different positions. And Gibbs once again empty from downtown. He is 0 of 6 from beyond the arc. Travel on Michael Young. Ball back to Davidson. Everything is going in for Pittsburgh. Close to 60% from the field today.
Yeah, and this one was just pure effort right here on the miss. See Chris Jones crashing the board, got his right hand up and tipped it back in. When you have the 6'7", 6'8", we're able to play just a lot of positions, and you can put them all out there on the floor. You got a terrific advantage. And that's why I'm saying, I don't know what the pollsters were thinking. They take a look at this team right here and have them pick 10th in the ACC.
Yeah, and it's not an aberration. Pittsburgh's shooting 50% from the field on the season. That's top 20 in the country. Sullivan down and out. It's just getting mean right now.
And you see the close by Pittsburgh. Luther with the drive. It's forcing Davidson. You see guys leaning. You see guys falling away. They're not able to contend with the size of Pittsburgh.
Panthers up big. ESPN with 5 of the best games that anyone could ask for. The action starts at noon Eastern on ESPN. All games are also streaming live on Watch ESPN. How about that 5 o'clock matchup? You've got Golden State and Cleveland, the finals rematch. Steph Curry will be on display. He owns this place when he comes to the Garden. He's had some excellent games back in college and then in the NBA as well. 54-point night a couple years ago, and even back when he was still wearing the Davidson jersey. Wildcats took down a good West Virginia team 7 years ago. Curry was the reason behind it. Oh, his Warriors, they're 26-1 through 27 games now.
And that's obviously no fluke.
Right.
I mean, those guys come to play. They play a brand of basketball that is reflective of approach today, a lot of guys have no positions whatsoever. They're out on the floor. They're making plays. They're doing what they have to do. I look at a guy like Draymond Green, who, you thought he might be a post player. People thought he was in between 6'7", 6'8". Well, Golden State has found a position to utilize all of his skills, and he's been outstanding. He's kind of the hub of that team, with Curry, Thompson being the stars.
Gibbs finally gets a roll. Those are two great examples, though. Curry coming out of high school, his head coach Sean Brown tells the story down when he was at Charlotte Christian. Approached Division I head coach and said, hey, could Steph walk onto your program? They laughed at him.
Walk on.
Even Tom Izzo says he never knew Draymond Green would be as good as he is in the NBA right now.
Well, it's because people have a set idea of what it takes to play in the NBA. And what happens is, if you're a good basketball player, you're a smart basketball player, you got the athleticism, if that system is devised to emphasize your strengths, you're going to do well. And I think that system works perfectly. Now, of course, Draymond Green works on his three-point shooting, and he can't help it. He's got, like I said, Curry and Thompson out there shooting. He's always been a good rebounder. He's smart. And, he creates mismatches, being kind of a stretch four.
That was Jordan Watkins, the sophomore from Charlotte. Well, Curry and the Warriors are 26-1. The 96 Bulls, they were 24-3 at this point through 27 games. Just saying.
The only comparison you can make, obviously, is dream comparisons. But in that instance, that Bulls team had stronger rebounding, and I think that would set them apart from the Golden State team.
Guys like Dennis Rodman and just the players from Jordan's generation, they went 72-10 that year. Best ever single season NBA record. Warriors, they are certainly starting the conversation right now. There's Jack Gibbs, who came in second in the country in scoring, 25 a night. He's also an excellent defender and passer as well, but they shut him down today.
Yeah, they did. They were able to take away his game, crowding him, denying him, limiting his touches, and then he got a little frustrated. He took some questionable shots, but that's out of frustration.
When Steph Curry got to see him play in Charlotte a few weeks ago, he said, "Now he's not like me. He's much stronger, much smarter of a player."
Well, he's definitely stronger, but other than that,
that's Curry being modest.
Yeah, I was going to say Steph Curry is in a category by himself. We talk about once-in-a-lifetime players, and he's one of those guys. But we talk about 72-10 for the Bulls, and can this Warrior team reach it? I'm not so sure. I just think that the physical element of the game, the banging, the bruising, eventually some of those guys are going to go down for a period of time and upset their chemistry, upset their flow. Never say never, but I just don't think. The Western Conference, like you mentioned, very tough.
Always a physical conference.
We'll see.
Even Sullivan as well tonight. There you go, 17.5 a game. He and Gibbs combined for 43 points roughly per game. That's best in the nation.
Well, early he was getting looks. And, he knocked down a couple of shots, and I think Pitt made an adjustment. And they wound up being able to get a hand in his face. Again, limit his touches as well. And create an environment where he just could not thrive.
Robinson on the curl. Boy, he has had a great night shooting 7 of 11 from the field.
And that's another way to stop Sullivan. He had to play defense. When you play tough D, it takes away from your offensive skills for a lot of guys.
Bombs another.
And Robinson with that quick close bothered him.
There's Jamel Artis. He's 6'8". He's running the floor there. Whistled for the offensive foul, but this is what Pittsburgh brings to the table. Versatility from every position. They like to run. They get out in transition. 24-point lead.
Yeah, that foul particularly, I still have a question about that one, simply because you know, Artis was moving as quickly as he can. Yes, the defender can move his feet and still get a foul, offensive foul. But that one, I think Artis really had the angle.
Jeter alters the shot. It's a jump ball, and it's going to go back to Pittsburgh. Artis, he's from Baltimore. Spent a year at Notre Dame Prep. Ryan Hurd runs a great program up in Massachusetts, and he's not the only Pittsburgh Panther to head to Notre Dame Prep. Steven Adams from a couple years ago, Carl Krauser. And that's just the type of player that Dixon likes to recruit.
Steven Adams, that's another guy. Who would have thought that he'd be a starting center in the NBA? See, there's contact there, no call. It's probably similar to what happened with Jamel Artis.
Sheldon Jeter, he spent that first year at Vanderbilt. Tried to transfer, blocked by his head coach. Kevin Stallings goes to Polk State Junior College for his season. And great move that Jeter has made. He didn't play basketball down at Polk State Junior College. So that means he has 3 years now with Pitt, this year and the next. Shot blocked by Jones. Sullivan got it back. And a loose ball foul. It's going against Watkins.
Well, Watkins had no shot at getting that ball, so he just kind of pushed Robinson. But on Chris Jones and then block of Sullivan. Jones has been the guy who has hounded Ryan Sullivan throughout this game. And you look at his size, you look at his strength, and his quickness. And that's the thing, to be that big and that strong, still be quick enough to stay with point guards. You got to give Jones some credit.
That's a great reaction. Coming up on 4 minutes left in this one, and Pitt is up big. What did you learn about this Panthers team today, the way they shoot the ball?
I think they get high percentage shots. They're patient when they need to be. And the way they rebound, they need to push the ball, and they did it. Converted.
Aldridge, no go. Continue to stay cold. 5 of 26 from downtown. There is Jones on the finish. Gibbs back in transition the other way, and he answers right back. It is all Panthers inside Madison Square Garden. Remember, they won the Big East tournament here in 2008 and 2003. They went to 7 previous decade Big East championship games. And there's a foul, and it goes against Pittsburgh. Panthers up big inside MSG this afternoon.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Continental Tire. For what you do.
Sunday afternoon at Madison Square Garden in Pittsburgh. 26-point lead over Davidson today, and defensively got the job done.
Yeah, they certainly did, particularly the guards. You know, guys like James Robinson and Chris Jones have really hounded the shooters. They close quickly. And at times, you know, they've just downright taken the ball away. It's really frustrating for these two guys, Gibbs and Sullivan. And, you know, it's reflected in the way they've shot. And Gibbs, 8 of 18 from the field. Sullivan, 2 of 12. And you see the results right there.
These two normally go for about 43 points per game. Today, totally different story. And Davidson, they're shooting just 37% from the field. That's about 10 points lower than their season average.
Yeah, I mean, you just marvel at the quickness for the size of these guys, like Chris Jones, a guard, you know, 6'6", going about 220, 225, and he can move his feet and guard guys. And the same thing with James Robinson as a point. Then you got guys coming off the bench with extraordinary length, like Wilson.
It's that length that plagues Davidson today. And Matt McKillop, that's Bob McKillop's son. He's on the coaching staff. He joked with us before, and you really just got to hope with this size. How about the follow, Sheldon Jeter?
I guess they gave that to him. That ball looked like it was in the cylinder.
Jeter with 8 points, 8 rebounds off the bench. There's a whistle, and it will be 2 free throws for Davidson.
Well, with Davidson, what can you do? Ball goes up in the air. Look at the size. The guys above the rim. That was in the cylinder. There's no question about it. It was going to go in anyway.
Well, everything's dropping, even the ones that defy the rules today. Davidson, though, they've got a couple more non-conference games. They've got to head out to California to take on the Bears. It's their final road test of the non-conference schedule. But Davidson, they get to head back home. Brand new Harry L. Vance Athletic Center. It's an update to the Baker Sports Complex.
Man.
3 from downtown. Johnson.
Lights out.
92 points for Pittsburgh. They scored 100 a couple weeks ago against Central Arkansas. They have been up over 90 points a few times this year. And this offense, it's for real.
Oh, no question about it.
Jump ball. 2:10 to play.
I mean, they've got the ability to knock down threes. They've got the ability to go inside. If they play inside out as they did when they went on the run, you know, getting it to Michael Young, getting it inside the guys, and when they're covered to kick it back outside, they do that. They're going to be a formidable opponent for anybody in the ACC.
Jamie Dixon, just saw him. There's only 6 coaches that have racked up more wins in their first 13 years than he has. Watkins off the block, hits the triple. And a timeout taken by Davidson. 92-67 with less than 2 to go. So Monday, remember, the most wonderful time of the year. It continues with the Miami Beach Bowl at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN. Running back Marlon Mack, he leads an 8-4 South Florida team against quarterback Brandon Doty. And the 11-2 Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. That game streaming live on Watch ESPN. Pittsburgh finishing up their non-conference schedule. And a great offensive performance today from the Panthers. All right, time for today's Player of the Game, brought to you by Continental Tire. This is an easy one, Len.
Michael Young, very deserving. He's the one that got Pittsburgh started offensively when they finally went to him on a consistent basis. He delivered and did not disappoint.
22 points. He's gotten better and better. Freshman year averaged about 6 a night. His sophomore year, 13.5 this year. Close to 18 a game.
Well, he's got a well-developed game. He's got the ability to put it on the floor. He can pass in close quarters, interior passing. Pretty good rebounder. I'd say defensively is where he probably needs to pay more attention.
Damon Wilson steps into a long one. Nelson Ododa just can't block him out underneath. Too much size for Pittsburgh today.
And strength. Those guys get rooted in there. You can't move them off the block.
It's a really deep bench this year for Pittsburgh. And a long triple off the mark. Aldridge chases that one and out of bounds. 27-point advantage for Pittsburgh. That means Mike Lesack and Ryan Seeley, he gets some minutes. Jeter and Jones hit the pine. Lesack from Pittsburgh. Seeley, he's the freshman.
And the fans out here are treating their insertion into the lineup like the victory cigar being lit.
Showing them some love. And there's a quick whistle, so 2 shots for Jack Gibbs. Now Pittsburgh's going to improve to 9-1 on the season. Davidson will fall to 7-2. Again, Wildcats have a very high RPI. Pittsburgh receiving votes, both the AP and coaches poll. This should launch them into the top 25.
Yeah, I would agree. Davidson, a respected program. You know, you beat them this badly, and people take notice.
Yeah, especially had a couple teams fall yesterday. Number 22, UCLA. They fell to UNC. That was a train ride down into Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And there is Ryan Seeley, the 6'6" freshman. And this one's tough for Davidson, but got to put it into perspective. You start to head into that Atlantic 10 schedule. They won 14 games in the Atlantic 10 a season ago, and that's where they're going to make their money, especially heading closer to tournament time. 50 seconds to go. Pittsburgh 94 points and shooting 55% from the field. Took 65 shots.
Well, kind of paraphrase the adage, if it doesn't destroy you, it's going to make you stronger. You know, I don't think Davidson will be destroyed.
That didn't hit anything. Shot clock violation.
And their ability to see talent like this, they have to make an adjustment.
If you're Bob, you're right. If you're Bob McKillop, what's that message after this one?
The message from a technical standpoint is there are some things they have to do better, particularly on the blocks, you know, particularly trying to free guys and get open shots. But more than anything else, you know, guys have acquitted themselves well. They didn't back down. They kept the effort. And they're not going to see this kind of size and quality of play in the A-10 per se. Although you mentioned teams like Richmond, George Washington, especially George Washington, who's ranked, will provide, you know, certainly something similar to this.
George Washington knocked off Virginia when they were ranked 6th in the country earlier this year. Richmond, they went on the road and beat a ranked Cal team earlier this season. Dayton upset Vanderbilt.
Yep.
And for the Wildcats, Kamal feigns Manu Yamukas into the game. Just 10 seconds to go. There's David Wilson. He's looking for one more steal. Wilson, that's the precocious freshman. By the way, his sister plays down at North Carolina State. Top scorer for the Wolfpack. Watkins from way downtown. Nelson O'Donnell with the final rebound. And Pittsburgh completes a thrashing inside Madison Square Garden. 25-point win against a very solid Davidson team. And now 9-1 on the season. We're going to wrap things up from inside MSG when we return. Pittsburgh 94, Davidson 69. Big victory.